I think what's really interesting is how much it's kind of divided the communities. Like after 10 years of this series.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me more. Like, synopsisize me. Such a high quality ending to such a high profile series is only good for the community, and it's only good for the industry as well.
Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is the podcast where we love to give you some top recommendations. We got a lot to unpack today. We've got Attack on Titan. We're going to talk a little bit more about MCM and some other bits and pieces that have happened over the last couple of weeks. But as always, I am your host, Zane Taichou, your captain of recommendations. And as always, I'm joined by my best of friend. He's a fidget spinner. Susu Day.
Hey, what up? It's me, your boy, Susu Day. I'm still tired from MCM somehow, but that might just be tired from life.
We are old now. We are old.
Yeah, they say that the body starts to die once you hit 28. So there's really no hope for us.
Yeah,
it's all downhill from here.
But yes, lots to talk about this week. Can I start off by talking about a series I watch and I just can't stop thinking about it?
I think I know what you're going to say, but please, by all means, lead the way.
So I watched the series called Pluto on Netflix, and it's this amazing anime, 8 episodes. It's like an hour an episode though. It's pretty long. But I was just blown away by the storytelling and everything. It's just so good. The animation's crisp, the color palette's amazing. But what really surprised me is the fact that this dark murder mystery is set in the Astro Boy universe.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me more. Like, give me, synopsisize me. Like, you've started painting a word picture that I would like to see. Before I pay to get into the gallery, can you just describe the picture to me a little bit more?
There's a series of murders, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of things like Hannibal, where the bodies aren't just, perished. These are also robots as well.
They're put on display.
They're put on display, and there's like these horns. They're always found with like horns attached.
That's proper Chesapeake Ripper. That is.
Yeah. So it's kind of, and you're like, wow, this is really dark. And then there's this theory that maybe the murderer is after, high profile robots. So the detective goes looking for possibly the world's most famous robot. And it turns out to be this kid called Atom. And I was kind of like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, it's giving me iRobot vibes, maybe a little bit of AI, a boy robot and stuff. And then I don't know what it was, but something went, these names sound familiar, and I don't know why. And I Googled it, and then, the penny dropped. It's set in the This boy is Astro Boy, but they don't call him Astro Boy. They call him Atom. And it just kind of spun me, but I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
So just clear something up for me.
Yeah.
If this boy is Astro Boy, technically.
Yes.
If this is your boy Tobio.
Yes.
Can he do the Astro Boy stuff?
This might be
like for the sake of spoilers and stuff, is that too much to go into?
I wouldn't say it's too much of a spoiler. Like, I've seen clips out there that kind of compare the 2003, 2009 Astro Boy, like back to back, because there's some things that are, again, kind of mirrored in this version. They've stripped out a lot of the, I guess, shonen tropes and cartoony stuff. Like, he doesn't have an arm cannon. Well, you don't see it in this, but he still flies like Astro. Like, you know. You'll be happy. Dr. Tenma does make an appearance, and Tobio, like...
Like, that's like a core memory of anime from my like youth, from watching Astro Boy on like Fox Kids and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, and you see him, he's like, you know, he's standing on top of the skyscraper with the silhouetted by the moon, and like Astro's having like the fight of his life so far, and then that's when he first uses because he's been using the finger cannon, like the finger lasers up until the point, and then he does the arm cannon for the first time.
Yeah. So yeah, he does do a lot of the. He has all the cards. He knows all the insight and stuff. But there's some really great other characters in there, and the character development and everything is amazing. Also, just to put a cherry on top of Dr. Tenma, he's voiced by Keith David, who you may remember as the president from Rick and Morty and numerous other things, really.
Yeah, he's a very prolific voice actor and actor in general.
He's the new Zavala in Destiny. So yeah, his Tobio delivery is just...
Oh, I'm hearing it resonating in my chest. Like, just thinking about it.
So yeah, definitely worth a watch. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark VPN, who have given me, now get this, 83% off plus 3 months free. So if you've been meaning to pick up a VPN, now might be the time. Surfshark is a trusted VPN to help you protect your privacy online. Whether that's protecting yourself from malicious websites, or if you're in a public Wi-Fi connection, you can keep your information locked down. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, allowing you to surf the web safely. Plus, it lets you change your virtual location. So if there's an anime on Netflix that's not available in your country, but say in Japan, guess what? You're in Japan now. You want to use BBC iPlayer to watch all of Doctor Who. So pick up Surfshark using the link in the description down below and use the code Undisputed Anime, and you'll get 83% off and 3 months free. Check it out.
Let's go Attack on Titan first, because the regular listeners of the show will know, I fell off Attack on Titan, the anime anyway, a long time ago. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, but right now it's a bit too hype for me. When I found the manga towards its end was very convoluted and I didn't enjoy it as much. But I have it on good authority that you've watched it.
Yes.
And I also have it on good authority that it is like the second most watched anime episode on Crunchyroll.
It's very true. Yeah.
So
I think it's also landed some really high ratings on IMDb and other sort of rating platforms as well. Yeah, really sensational episode. I think what's really interesting is how much it's kind of divided the community. Like, that's what it's one of the most interesting parts of it, I think, and the discussion is kind of everyone's interpretation of the ending, and of course spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it or read it. But yeah, I think that's what surprised me the most about this. Like, after 10 years of this series, it's kind of left divided opinions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I know that they were planning on doing there were some extra scenes in that weren't in the manga, or so I heard. So, maybe they wanted to leave things open to an Attack on Titan cinematic universe. Who knows?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because there was a lot of discussion about, because forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, but Isayama was really involved with this final episode, and those extra scenes, those extra panels, shall we say, I guess really adds a lot more context, because it seems like the main discussion is about the interpretation of Eren's motivations and his character journey towards the end part. Like, for some people it feels like a very big switch, that he's crying and he is a victim of like this future sight and everything, and he had to do the rumbling. And for some people, they don't really like that adjustment, where there's the flip side of he was a villain, he committed to this idea, and kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I fall into the second camp as someone who's not watched it. Like, I obviously saw the original ending, and I think it's okay in a story like Attack on Titan for it to have gone down the route of the hero lives long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
And is fine with being the villain because the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
At least in his mind. Like, he believed in the end that what he was doing was the right thing to do, based on all the injustices of Ymir and stuff in the past. So, but I, like, this is just purely speculation. But I wonder if those changes to the end of the anime was based on not fan feedback, but fan reaction, because we know that Eren is a hugely popular character.
Yeah.
And maybe they thought that the response to the ending would be worse, especially for those who only watch the anime, don't read the manga. Maybe the response would be worse if this character that these people love so much, ends up unredeemed, or ends up not being a victim. Like, because some people wouldn't be able to look past it. Some people will be like, "This ruins my whole experience because I was under the impression that this character was going to be redeemed." Because obviously the way it ends is obviously it's not a happy ending regardless in stuff, like, depending on where you're looking at it from. But like, Eren, the outlook's bleak for Eren regardless. So I'm wondering if maybe that's played on it. Maybe because sometimes people like writers will make changes in movies and shows based on other stuff in order to better appeal to the people who are going to be watching it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. And I think, looking back at like timescales and stuff, so the manga drops, it has a very diverse reaction. He goes to New York Anime Con and says sorry, and a lot of people were like, no, we really love the series as a whole. And it kind of, filled his heart up, because he apparently had a bit of depression about the reaction to the last chapter. And that's why he's added those extra scenes in the anime, just to kind of flesh out. The ending hasn't changed as such. It's just that it adds more context to Eren's motives and explains Eren better, because it's all to do with those. I don't know if you remember, there's a section where Eren kind of tells Armin everything. Like, I realized I couldn't do freedom.
In the mindscape.
Within the mindscape, the paths, whatever it is. And he kind of explains, hatred is this endless cycle that can't be broken. And I'm a slave to freedom. Like, no matter what I have done, the worst outcome was the best outcome, sort of thing. And again, that just kind of, for some people, that makes it feel like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, I think it's okay for things to be left open, like to be left with questions.
Yeah,
I think and I think especially when you've hyped up a series so much to the point where, like, every single time people think it's going to come to an end, they're like, well, no, this is part one of the ends. This isn't the full ends. And then it's
Yeah.
like, this is part 2, and you're like, oh, surely this will be the end. It's like, no, well, no, there's going to be one more.
Final mix.
Yeah.
I really like the ending.
Yeah.
I thought this was amazing. Yeah, I as I've gotten older, I appreciate an ending that doesn't have necessarily a happy ending. I've also found myself a huge fan of characters that do have those sort of like changes in their personalities or in their traits. Like if you think about it, Eren goes from this like plucky kid who wants to take out all the Titans to becoming like a villain because he wants freedom, and that's his resolve, and he's saying attack in the mirror and everything else, influencing his father to do terrible things and everything. And then right at the end, when he has the ability of future sight and everything else, he realizes that he's still that crybaby kid. He's just an idiot with power. And I'm like, wow, that's like what a full circle to kind of, from a kid who couldn't even use a gear to now a crybaby all over again. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when thing. I'm really pleased that like it's come out as popular it is, because regardless of how I feel about Attack on Titan, like and my enjoyment of it is like such a high quality ending to such a high profile series is only good for the community, and it's only good for the industry as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great point, especially for Mappa as well, for picking up the series, because originally it got dropped by Studio Whip. They brought back previous producers and directors, so there's a sequence, I don't know if you remember, when Levi fights Kenny. He's like, Kenny! And he does this whole, like, that whole sequence through the town. They got the same guy who did all the storyboards back to do a similar thing again when he shoots a rocket at Eren's mouth for Mikasa to deliver the final blow. Yeah. So it's amazing, like, they've pulled people back from the past and stuff to add to this.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think for me personally, the biggest and best twist for me in Attack on Titan was finding out that Levi and Mikasa are part of a line, part of a bloodline, which is like loyal to the royal family, and that's why Mikasa. And then it's like brought into question: is this why? Because it's like almost programmed into them. Yeah. Is this why Mikasa is like so obsessed with him? Is so obsessed with his well-being? Is not because she has chosen and she wants to be that person for him, but because in her mind that's just how she's programmed. She's programmed to serve his bloodline.
Yeah, that's really
I thought that was a really interesting twist because it brought into question every single choice that she had made for him in the past, because she's done some pretty, like, she's always up in everyone's grill to like when he's involved. So
I think as a series as a whole, it's like fantastic. I've loved every twist and turn, every surprise, every foreshadowing. It really is. And that's the other thing that I thought about this week. Like, Isayama started this when he was 19, and he already had the beginning and the ending in mind. It's just everything else in the middle. It's just, and to be consistently fantastic throughout, I think it's just astonishing. And I'm really excited to see what his next like project would be. I've heard that he's going to be doing a Levi book, like the early years of Levi, which I think is cool. But
yeah, I would really love to see him be able to separate himself from Attack on Titan now, because Attack on Titan's got a fair share of like spin-offs already. You've got like a prequel, you've got like, there's like a load of stuff that's been done for Attack on Titan, and I would really like to see, because the last thing you want is for a talented artist and storyteller to get kind of like shoehorned into only doing that one series for the rest of their lives. Stuff. What you want is you want to see them like go out and like do new stuff like entirely. It's like I'm sure that everyone would have loved it if Kubo continued to work on like Bleach forever. But it's like, you gotta let them go out and like tell different stories. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other, just kind of playing devil's advocate, like Kishimoto did that. Like once Naruto was over, he moved on to Samurai 8. Now, Samurai 8 didn't exactly land the same way, but at least, there's some other piece of medium out there that
yeah.
he had a shot at.
And two is to the credit of that. Like, honestly, I don't think that Samurai 8 was bad. I just think that people had come off of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and they just wanted more Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't want something else from this author, which is a shame, because that means that like he is now kind of, even though like Naruto was hugely popular, and that's incredible, it kind of like creates this awkward situation of like, well, is anyone ever going to be happy with anything I do unless it's this one series?
Yeah.
And I think that's unfair to like authors and like artists and stuff. Like when you kind of get put into this box where you can only do that, because the people who support you will only support you if you're doing the thing that they want you to be doing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that he makes like a killer one shot about Minato a couple of years later, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, your talent is just unbelievable. My
but
god.
it's like when you like go back over to like Kubo, it's like he did Burn the Witch, which might not have gotten as big as Bleach, but it's like, and it's obviously not a long running thing, but like it's definitely popular enough that it's getting a lot more stuff done for it now.
Yeah.
Which is honestly great. Like you want to be seeing them be able to expand outwards, like even if it's in the same world, like obviously like Burn the Witch and like Bleach is supposed to be set on the same Earth. So
yeah, Fairy Tale, Eden Zero, like
it's all the same story with a different skin. so far, Dead Rock is not. Dead Rock to me has been so far different enough that I've not been joking about it just being a different flavor of Rave Master.
Yeah. What can I say? I like my Happy Meals. Whew. Anything else? Any other final thoughts on Attack on Titan?
It's been a great run. Like, I don't really have like anything super poignant to say about it, because I myself haven't watched the last episode. But like I said, its success is good for the community and it's good for the industry. And I hope that he's allowed to branch out and explore some different things, in some different settings.
I totally agree with you. I had a crazy thought the other day, and this I'm gonna cover my mouth as I say this. Is it crazy to say this might be like our generation's Evangelion?
I mean, it's definitely as convoluted. Maybe. I guess I really think that that's something that we won't know for sure until a few more years have passed.
Yeah,
I think it'll be one of those things that will like kind of show after a couple of years have gone by.
Yeah,
because I think that's the same with like Evangelion. It was like kind of like you don't really, it doesn't become like a cult thing until like years later, does it?
Yeah. I just, again, thinking back to some of those early reactions to the last episode with Shinji and stuff, and it just feels so similar to me. Yeah. Crazy thought, but maybe Attack on Titan is our
Pin that
generation's...
Pin that to the fridge on your prediction fridge.
Yeah.
And we'll check back in if we're still doing this in like 10 years' time. We'll be like, Zane said once that it was our generation's Evangelion. So let's review. Let's go back and review.
If you're listening or watching, leave a comment. I'd love to know what other people's reactions, not only to the finale, but do you think this is Attack on Titan is this generation's Evangelion? Like, I think it could be. But let us know your thoughts. We'd be interested. Whew.
Whew. Sheesh.
My word. Okay. Should we talk about MCM?
Oh yeah, I'm always down to talk about MCM. It was, it was. I'm still riding that like high. I've still got. I was saying before the show started, I've still got that post-con blues. There's just something about going to a con and being surrounded by like thousands of people who are like you, who like the things that you like. I can only describe it as being like a football fan, or like being a fan of like a sport, and you go to like you go to like the big games and stuff, and like you feel like a sense of like community with the people who you're with there, and it's like that's what it felt like being at a con to me.
Yeah, it's it was amazing, and if you haven't already, check out our previous episode where we gave like our live reactions
live from MCM from the balcony.
My hair looks like a Lego brick, like it just doesn't move, and it's like a weird shape.
That's what MCM does. It's that London water.
All that heat and humid body heat inside that the floor. But yeah, anyways, fantastic time. Today we're going to go over some manga that was announced and also some anime that was also announced. Kicking things off, we went to a Yen Press and Kodansha panel, and they gave loads of recommendations for new manga series that are coming out. Some of these have already come out, by the way.
I think it's also worth highlighting for those listening that some of the titles that we are, in fact, I think a majority of the titles we're talking about have been are out, and they've been out for a while. It's that they're just now being published in the West. So you might hear us say some titles and be like, I've been reading this for 3 years, but officially, this is their release. So,
and you can get the physical manga as well now, which is
it's always nice having physical stuff.
Although sure. I do want a foldable for those commutes.
You are upset. You are really torn at the moment, aren't you?
I really am. If you want to know what we're talking about, I did a TikTok the other day about how someone is reading manga on a foldable phone, but they're using both sides of the screen for both pages, and it just blew my mind. So yeah, check that out. Also on Instagram.
Give them the views.
All the views. Likes and subscribes. Should we start off with Overgear?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because I love Overgeared. I've been reading Overgeared on Webtoons for forever, and it's another set in an online game world with a character who ends up getting a special ability or a special class. And it ends up making him very overpowered. Makes him able to craft gear that is really unimaginable to other people, and as a result, he becomes overgeared. And it's right there in the name. It's really interesting because main character starts off as a very selfish character, like it says in the description there. He's deadbeat in real life. But after he gets this new class, things start to turn around, and he starts to mature. It's a lot of character development, really interesting. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Beautiful art.
I was just going to say the artwork I've always been blown away by Team Argo. So yeah, it's got that solo leveling look to it already, doesn't it?
I think that whenever you go onto stuff like onto websites like Webtoons and wherever you read your like manhwa and stuff, if you go into the comments of the first chapter, it will always be someone saying, "How does this compare to Solo Leveling?" or "How is this the next Solo Leveling?" So that's what people are looking for in a lot of manhwa. Is like
Yeah.
they're looking for something at the same quality as Solo Leveling, and that's a really high bar.
Yeah, I think Solo Leveling is going to be the measuring stick. I feel almost like, am I crazy to say once upon a time people used to compare Shonen to like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z? Like, oh, I've just started watching Bleach. Oh, is it better or worse than Dragon Ball Z? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, Loco
indeed.
So Kodansha were bigging up this one here. Let me just share my screen. It is a series called Darwin Incidents.
Yeah, the Darwin Incident, which seems really, really interesting. I'm going to be honest, I hadn't heard about this prior to this panel. But I've now got it listed as something to read. Because it was described as like a shonen, wasn't it? It was described as like
yeah.
And I'm interested to see how they would do that with this setting.
Yeah. For those who are unaware, the Darwin Incident is about a young man who also happens to be part ape, and it's all to do with, I guess it's kind of like where does he land? Almost like a child of two worlds. He's part animal, part human, and he's trying to integrate himself into the human world by going to school and stuff. But I think they mentioned there's like a terrorist plot in here, which yeah. But yeah, the art looks cool, judging by the cover and some panels I've seen. So yeah, it might be one to keep an eye on.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely one that sparked my interest in a big way when we were there. Just trying to find out if the author has got anything else under their belt. Oh, did they do Pantheon Stocking?
Oh, potentially.
This might just be a similar title. I think it's just a similar title.
But I had heard that this won quite a few awards. So even here, excellent award in Japan's Media Arts Festival. So yeah, it definitely sounds like it's got some backing behind it.
Some critical acclaim. Awesome
sauce. Where do you want to go next?
Well, it wouldn't be an episode of the Undisputed Anime Podcast if we didn't talk about how much I love A Returner's Magic Should Be Special. And that was one of the titles that is getting published that was announced by Yemfress. If you've listened to the show before, you've heard me talk nothing but praise for this title. Go and read it. Go buy it. Go and get it. It's beautiful. It's a beautifully illustrated, great story. Getting an anime. Just got an anime.
Has it? Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think it came out this year actually.
So get on it. I will just be for just full disclosure. I'm really behind on every single anime that I watch right now. So I've not yet started Return Magic Should Be Special. I've literally still not even finished the Gojo arc of
the infantry.
JJK.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you need to understand is that when you start watching an anime with your partner, with your spouse, then you obviously have an obligation to watch it with them. You can't skip ahead and stuff. But then a game called Baldur's Gate came out, and that's been the subject of all my wife's time. So there's not really been any time for anime of late, which is annoying because every day that passes by, I get a bit further behind, and it becomes a bit more for me to have to catch up on, which is difficult when you are a co-host on a podcast that talks about anime.
Yeah, I'm currently feeling that at the moment. So mainly One Piece. Like, me and my wife watch One Piece together. She's found a new series and has been binging that, which means our One Piece time has just fallen away. Also, as I said to you before we started, it feels like every weekend I've been traveling, so I'm also behind on a lot of things. I binge watched quite a lot of JJK last night, so I'm up to date on that. But I'm behind on everything else. Like Emma, I can't
His
say
Eminence in Shadow.
Thank you. Yes, season 2. I haven't even started yet because I'm that far behind on everything else. So yeah,
It's well, like being an adult. Like I remember being still in school, and every single night I was watching like 10 assorted episodes of anime. Like I was watching so much anime back then. I had like no other responsibilities other than watching anime and going to school. And this was back when anime wasn't as accessible as well. I was watching more anime then than I was now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, but I tell you what, I have watched. Get ready, drum roll. It is Shangri-La Frontier.
Yes, you've been very much talking up Shangri-La Frontier, like you, and I'm gonna give it a go based on your positive feedback. But they did like Kodansha did talk it up really well as well when they were talking about the first volume being released. Seems like it could be a lot of fun.
Really, really fun. I really like the goofy nature this has, but yeah, it it makes me chuckle. That's all I can say, really. Like, this kid.
That's all you want, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a great one that you don't have to meta read or kind of think twice about. It's just a real fun series. And yeah, if you're on the fence about it, at least check out the first episode of the anime because, again, it's really, really fun. The other thing, just to mention, because he wears like a bird mask or a bird head for his avatar, a lot of people think he's like a monster in the game or like some sort of weird boss level. So when he enters like the area, they're like, wait a minute, he's not a creature. So yeah, I really like it. Really cool.
Nice. They also talked about Shy, which does have anime currently. It's finally getting published, and based on the website I'm looking at here, sold out. So seems pretty popular.
Yeah,
This is the travelingman.com. Do
yeah.
give it a look if you are within the UK.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, Shy looks like it's sold out. But I've heard good things about the anime as well. So again, another one to add to the watch list.
Especially if you like things like Attack on Titan. Sorry, Attack on Titan. What I'm talking about, My Hero Academia. Very different titles. If you like if you like the manga anime spin on the superhero trope, absolutely, you should give it a listen, or give it a watch, or give it a read. However you consume your media.
Absolutely. I'm gonna. This is probably the last one I'll pick, just because I am a huge fan of Clamp.
I know what you're gonna say.
Tokyo Babylon, Volume 1. So this is one of Clamp's earlier series in their career, and it has that kind of 90s feel about it just from the cover, but it's very Clamp in terms of the way the art style and the color choices and things. So yeah, I think this would be a great pickup if you are fans of Cardcaptor Sakura or trying to think of other ones. Ray Earth, Subasa Chronicles,
Tsubasa, XXX Holic.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Chobits.
I often forget that's a Clamp one. Yeah,
There is so much good Clamp stuff out there. So definitely get on it. Well, I guess for me, the last one that I was gonna say, we've got the list is longer, but
yeah,
we talked about it in our last episode when we were there, a lot more extensively. But the last thing I was gonna just bring up, which I'm actually gonna start today, maybe if I can get a hold of a copy, is Origin, which is written and illustrated by the guy who did or Boichi, who did Doctor Stone. And I'm really interested to see it because it seems like it's a much darker setting. It's set in a future Japan, and there's like robots and AI, and there are like it's very much what am I thinking of? What am I thinking of?
Ghost of the Shell.
Old sci-fi title, not anime. Blade Runner. It sounds very Blade Runner esque. Like you don't know who a synth. You don't know who synths are. That's what it sounds like to me, but I could be wrong. So looking forward to giving that a go.
It's a good chat.
And the art style is obviously, if it's anything like Doctor Stone, it's going to be incredible.
I feel like he's like the busiest man at the moment because he's got that. He's worked on that Ace, One Piece Ace side manga, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been a very, very busy boy, and I'm just like looking through his published list. He is got Sunken, like he's got so many titles here. So many titles. Yeah, One Piece Episode A. Originally started coming out in like 2020.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot
One
of people.
Piece Nami versus Khalifa. I always forget that he was involved with Terraformers.
Oh really?
Yeah. Godarms, jeez, like you sometimes you look back through like an author's backlog, and you're like, geez, how long have you been in the game for?
Yeah, started
How many
young.
one shots are you churning out? So it's good stuff, though. It's a good time. We're always saying this. It's a good time to be a fan.
Absolutely, yeah. No better.
There's so much good stuff these days.
Absolutely. So switching gears to Anime Limited, they did again. We spoke about this in the last episode. They did a great panel about physical media, anime movies coming to the West and things of that nature. One of There we go. One of the series, well, not so much series, but movies they mentioned was Godzilla -1.
It felt so good to see that trailer on that big screen.
Yeah,
like hearing Godzilla's roar. Just for disclosure here, like around the convention floor, there was an area which was dedicated to Godzilla -1, and there was this big wall that like they were inviting people to like write messages on and stuff. And there were some screens where you could see the trailer, but they didn't have any sound, didn't have any audio. But then when we went to this Anime Limited panel, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna show you the trailer here," and they played it, and like you hear, Like it felt so classic Godzilla.
It really did.
Yeah,
It really
the fact
did.
that it was obviously not dubbed as well was great. Like it was amazing that it was just a sub. It felt just like old Godzilla. Not that there's anything wrong with new Godzilla, but
yeah, it's I guess that's the difference, isn't it? Like the Warner Brothers version that we've been seeing recently with Godzilla
the
versus King Kong,
Monarchverse, isn't it?
yeah,
The Monsterverse.
It feels like a different type of Godzilla compared to this version and Godzilla Shin, or Shin Godzilla, I should say, that came out a few years ago. So yeah, this feels like classic destructive nature. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well is this, just to highlight, will be available in IMAX and 4DX as well.
That's going to be destructive on the body.
I've seen reports already saying that the IMAX ticket sales in Japan have been astronomical for it, which really, really leaves me with a lot of hope that it would be something similar over here. Judging by this article, it looks like nationwide from the 15th of December. So, yeah, a little bit, not too long away.
Could be a nice pre-Christmas meetup.
Yeah.
Go and get into the spirit of things, watching giant radioactive monstrosity destroying Japan.
Absolutely.
Well, destroying coastal Japan anyway.
I think it's also a time period as well. I want to say it's like set not long after.
Set just after the war, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Again, an interesting time to place a Godzilla.
It's a good place to. It's a good place to put it. Consider it. I get the feeling that they've gone. You know, they're doing Godzilla in the West right now in the modern, not too distant future sort of thing. So maybe the best thing we could do is to go back.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I particularly, this isn't about Godzilla anymore. This is about another one of their announcements. I was particularly fond of the trailer we saw for the Lonely Castle in the Mirror.
I was just going to mention that one.
Yeah, it looks incredible. It looks like such a charming, like coming of age like story.
Yeah, it really looked great. A lot of mystery, a lot of sort of a very character developed based story from the looks of things. So yeah, really interesting, and I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, it's good. It just looks like it ticks every single box to be like that. You know, that next beautiful standalone anime movie that everyone loves, like Silent Voice and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be a real visual spectacle. In just from the trailer in terms of its color palette, the art style, and the music as well. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it comes out in 2024.
Yeah, 2024.
Which is why we don't have a specific date, but should be fun. Maybe a tearjerker.
Maybe.
Maybe. Excellent. Any others you want to mention?
I mean, just stylistically, Blue Giant just sounds great. It sounds like absolutely not what I would usually want to watch, but the trailer really sold it to me.
Yeah,
just it's a story about jazz and making it big in jazz, and it honestly, the trailer was incredible. Like it felt amazing with all the like jazz you were hearing in the trailer.
Yeah. So. I wonder if they got the guy from who did Cowboy Bebop.
Maybe. Regardless, it looks really incredible. Like I said, it's absolutely not what I would usually go for. He says after he's constantly getting drawn into sports animes by this one. But
Hey, listen. Yeah, this I agree with you though. Like, I probably wouldn't have watched a movie about jazz, but this looks very intriguing. And again, more of a story about bonds and friendship, and again the music and everything. So
smooth jazz.
hot jazz. So yeah, I think that'd be a real good one to catch as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I think that is everything. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for this week's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. It's great as always. Feel free to check out the link in description down below. As always, make sure to leave a star rating if you listen to this on your favorite podcast platform, and not forgetting to like, share, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Susie Day, it's been a pleasure. Any final thoughts or any final words?
It's getting colder, guys. Make sure you wrap it warm. I imagine that it's been said 1,000 times as well, but thank you to MCM for having us out for the con. It was a really amazing experience. Got to see a lot of stuff. Had a really great weekend. Yeah, that's me. You know, if you pick up a hobby, make sure you stick at it. That's my wise wisdom for today, because as someone who is currently trying to retrain himself as an artist, so make sure you practice, stick at it, guys.
Absolutely. Some wise words this week, real wise words.
You know, gotta give some wisdom, and also gotta give our thanks. You know.
Absolutely. No, just to replicate, thank you, MCM. We had a fantastic time.
Thank you, MCM Senpai.
Yeah. We didn't even get to talk about our Jujutsu Kaisen story. I know we kind of touched on it.
Oh, come on, let's just jump. Let's jump in. Let's just jump back in. We still got, we can still wrap at an hour.
Okay. So again, you may have seen last week we talked about the story, but for those who don't know, we went out to dinner at a ramen anime themed place called Uzumaki's. Fantastic meal.
Shout out to Uzumaki's. Honestly, couldn't have been a better, more hospitable environment.
Is that the right word? Hospitable?
Yeah, they were really hospitable.
It was nice. It was a real nice meal and everything. And yeah, real great environment. Great music, because it was all opening themes from different anime series and stuff. And yeah, we were debating on dessert at the time, I think, weren't we? We've just finished our mains and our sides. And we were debating over, should we have dessert or should we call it an early night, get some sleep, because it's going to be another big day. And this is on the Saturday. And then as we were sat there kind of mulling things over, there was people alongside our table who were looking to be seated, because it was a big party. And randomly, I just looked at this guy's t-shirt, which was a Jujutsu Kaisen sweatshirt. And then I looked up at his face, and then a penny drop moment happened, and I was like, Itadori.
And you said it out loud.
I'm so shocked. And it turned out to be his dub voice actor, which was crazy.
We had seen earlier in the day as well. We had seen him at the JJK voice actor panel.
We did, yeah.
But yeah, it was wild. Honestly, to bump into Itadori's voice actor in an anime themed. And to make matters even more incredible, just before you had acknowledged that it was him, the opening to season 1 of JJK was playing.
At that time, yeah.
At that time, and didn't he make a comment on it? Like, didn't he say like they knew I was coming or something?
Yeah, he said something along the lines of they're playing my song, they must have known I was coming, or something along those lines. And it's just one of those like moments you're like, what is happening? So yeah, really cool, real nice guy. And yeah, amazing kind of 5-second moment there.
Yeah. Honestly, great stuff. Honestly, great stuff. Like, big shout out to, like, I'm just like, this is completely free publicity for them. It's like Uzumaki's London, excellent experience. If you get a chance to go, if you're in London, make some time to go. Because the food was delicious, the staff was so friendly, and so attentive. And it was pretty reasonable as well for London.
Yeah, nicely priced and everything. Yeah,
and you could buy anime merch as well. There was some merch in there.
There's some figures and things in that nature as well. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next big con. Anime Con UK, I think, is in February.
Stop looking at me. I don't know if I can. Don't know if I can. I don't know if I can justify it right after, like, in the months after Christmas.
I know. But we will no doubt be here the following week. So again, we'll be here back on schedule bi-weekly until Christmas, I guess. Christmas we'll have our usual break, and then the new year.
New year, new anime, new manga. Maybe we'll branch out into some other stuff. Who knows?
Hey, I've got a whole Gunpla set behind me.
do some live builds. Maybe do some live plays of some games.
Oh, hello.
So, well, you got to play. You got to play Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. So
I did. Yeah. What a lucky boy.
What a lucky boy. And I'm currently replaying the first one. So anyway, I'm getting distracted.
Yes. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you soon. Peace.